let's just dive into this hash ribbon stuff first. I loved your guys' explanation on one of the most recent issues of the Bitcoin layer. Um, and, I'll let you explain first what we're looking at and why these local bottoms have mattered historically.
For sure, yeah. So basically, these ribbons are formed. You can see the green line when I should have done a zoomed in chart, but you can see. Let's take the one in January 2019, for example. If you take a look at when the green line up above, which is the 30-day moving average, passes underneath the 60-day moving average, and this is hash rate, right? Basically, the Bitcoin network and Bitcoin as a commodity can sort of be thought of as like a proxy for energy. Right? The best way to think about it is, energy. Bitcoin for a while trades at a stark premium to its production costs, and at the Bitcoin layer, we've created a production cost metric. I know Blockware has, Charles Caprioleo has, everybody has their production cost metric, but Bitcoin trades, and sometimes it gets a little bit too overheated, and what you can sort of mark the events where major capitulation in price is occurring by monitoring hash rate, right? You could sort of take a look at hash rate and understand that that's like the basis for the creation of Bitcoin. That's how much computing power is going into creating Bitcoin. So when you have a massive log off, that means you've got a bunch of downward difficulty adjustments in the future. That means miners are selling their reserves, they're logging off the network. And so that's why when you see the 30-day moving average, which is an aggregate of the average hash rate over a more recent period than 60 days, it shows you that a very rapid, as in, we're using these sort of intervals, a very rapid miner log off is happening. And that's why it marks these capitulation events. You can see the separation between the 30-day and the 60-day in 2019, another major separation in the middle of 2020, or in March of 2020, excuse me. And then after the China ban, you can see another major divergence between those two. As of right now, there isn't a huge divergence between the 30-day and the 60-day, but still, it's marking that miners are logging off the network in a pretty big way, unplugging, selling their reserves, meaning the production cost of Bitcoin is going down. Bitcoin ends up trading a little bit lower to that, and so that's sort of what we're seeing with this hash ribbon metric here.
A hash ribbon has formed during a period where we can look back with hindsight and say, oh, we did have the market bottom during that window of time. But there isn't like a clear, or is there a clear pattern of like actually at this sort of moment you can get a sense of, or by after these number of days within a hash ribbon, that's when you can typically start to expect to see the bottom. Is there anything like that? Or is it just sort of more of a, hey, while we're in this is the potential for the bottom is in this sort of window of time that we're in right now?
In terms of like a standardized after X amount of days, you can expect capitulation to be over. There isn't really something for that. As you can see, like the size of these bands, which basically just represents the amount of time that there's this huge amount of capitulation. They vary pretty significantly. So like in 2019 and 2021, you had similar size bands, but the band we're in currently is those four bands in between, sort of between 2020 and middle of 2021 after the China ban, and then currently, and we're sort of in that regime where it's only about a month and a half. So if we're going to have a prolonged period of this extreme chop towards the bottom, obviously we're facing extreme macro headwinds right now, but I'll talk about in a second why that could be changing. I don't anticipate capitulation to occur for much longer, but again, we never know, right? We're talking probabilistically. Just taking a look at this, I wouldn't anticipate. I would anticipate minor capitulation to be over within the next couple of weeks. Given the way that these things have happened historically, but again, you never know. There's really no standardized way of measuring when a hash ribbon is going to end. It's more so this is like what the leading indicator is, and then afterward we could take a look back and mark a local bottom.